winner of Judd Trump against Dave Gilbert. That's a quarter-final that's coming up tonight.
Game is back underway. Their 24th meeting. Mark Selby undoubtedly one of those few players who has given O'Sullivan a shot, however, leaving O'Sullivan straight in with an easy red off the break.
One.
Second in the last 3 years, so I haven't seen a lot of each other.
6.
In very recent time in the deciding frame. 6-5.
Yes, and if I remember, that was about third or even fourth attempt out of Belfast just over a year ago.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 11.
So O'Sullivan misses the... And then a couple of years later, he won his first Masters title in similar circumstances. Coming from behind to beat O'Sullivan 14 in 2014. The only time O'Sullivan has been beaten in a Crucible final. But of course, Ronnie's had made all the more intriguing by the fact that they're very different characters. They have very different game styles. Not necessarily going to be... Yes, there was a time, wasn't there, when O'Sullivan labelled Selby the torturer, but it was actually a compliment. It was...
Quite a way off there, but the cue ball back to the... Oh, it's a mile away. He went for the pot again with the cue ball up and down. He's absolutely nowhere near that, O'Sullivan.
One.
Well, he... That's what he's done. Well controlled.
5.
His best performance of the week was arguably against Alfie Burden when he scored.
11.
But this is... And as good as Selby was in winning the English Open, side of that, he's still not quite looked the player. So a win today against O'Sullivan.
Selby's got to do. The first objective would be almost to take the sting out of the game. The way that O'Sullivan's been just galloping past gets O'Sullivan on the back foot, him thinking more so than he has been. Because I think, like you say, I've been quite impressed with Selby. And that's quite well controlled again, as long as the middle pocket and the yellow don't come into play here. He's got past both of those.
48. 49. 57.
Well, as you can see, the two reds both very possible. Getting over on that left side, and that is
65.
It's been good. This is just the sort of... Ronnie played a poor shot. He missed a red to the left middle by a bad shot, and your opponent scores off it.
72.
All you've got to think about is that one. A very experienced player, O'Sullivan, but
80.
to move it. Oh, the yellow. Well done.
'88.
Loose break off, letting O'Sullivan in, but O'Sullivan missed very quickly with the cut back red, and then the error into the centre.
Yeah, there's been an element of control about this break, measured break.
95.
Selby does so well when he's in form. Nothing else is up for grabs here. Yes, he's got it.
98.
It is 31st of the season, so Selby is...
It's been a very nice break. He really has made it well.
100.
Underneath the cushion, doesn't matter, unless he hits it, of course. No, terrific start this. I think we're in for a very match, and that's the way to start it, isn't it?
The gauntlet well and truly thrown down. Now he's quicker than O'Sullivan. He'd probably want a photo of that particular picture to stick on his wall somewhere.
You might not want to see that shot again, though, in replay, because he... Well done.
One.
Punch it in.
Seven.
Put together at 12. Now infamously smashed frame ball black off the table.
Yes, in an odd way. And it is
13.
strange. It seemed to focus his... As strange as it was since then, you know, his mind seems to have been cleared.
Very took no liberties. Played the percentages
16.
when he needed to, but
Clear the black completely. Just slightly hampering his progress. And that...
22.
Yeah.
29.
It's got the early makings of an... Not all matches involving Mark Selby.
35.
Gave that a little bit of anything. Now that red I mentioned that was troublesome, I think he's landed on it. That's why he's a masterful break
41.
builder, because it opens up the path to all pockets.
49.
wide for O'Sullivan. This will
57.
be the perfect.
Wow, what a shot. It's just a delightful cannon. Sullivan recently, you know, he's given the indication that
65.
he feels that it's a lucrative event that for him, but even in defeat, he's been adamant that his game is in good shape. So for someone that's often critical of
73.
himself, he believes he's...
Yes, and it was a similar story, wasn't it? In Belfast, he played outstanding 9-7. The margin.
York, and this is the final chapter for the
88.
decade in it, and
Each has made an error, which has been
92.
going. Well, he made that look easy, didn't he?
yes, he's recovered that situation so easily.
101. 105.
And both look in the
110.
mood to do plenty.
116.
Full break to watch.
123.
120 clearance from New. Of course, it's either Gilbert or Trump to play the winner of this one in the semis tomorrow. Yeah, a long way off.
But at all. So he'll be very good in situations like this, very rarely.
Oh, what a terrific pot.
What? Mark Selby, 1.
Ronnie not afraid to open the reds up there and playing the cue ball back into a very difficult to avoid. He's done so. For instance, that shot, look what he's done. He's tried to cut off the right side of the table again. It's a lovely safety shot, you know, it's really...
Excuse me.
No, that's a little short, that's an error. At this level, it's not a big...
And with the way both of them seem to be scoring, the safety battle's going to be key. And
Well, that's exactly how he played it. That's maybe in behind the brown thin.
so a very different frame.
His days when Ray Reardon was helping him. He says one thing and does another. I don't blame him. He's a great player.
Yes, I think the reality is that too much pride in performance at play
Foul, a miss. Ronnie
to
O'Sullivan,
approach
4.
it in any other fashion.
Foul, a
Again,
miss.
Selby
Ronnie
failing
O'Sullivan, 4.
to find the thin edge he was looking for.
So Mark Selby has forced the error of some description, whether...
1.
I don't know whether the black will cut in. If he does, it's ever so thin.
Mark Selby, 1.
With that shot. Now Ronnie has opened a lot up here.
Foul.
Something went in
Mark
the black.
Selby, 7.
I looked away and something had gone in. Looked at... Well, I think Mark should have done a little better there. Screwed in behind the...
One.
Oh,
Foul, miss.
got to be kidding me. That
Free
is
ball.
a back. Oh, that's a one.
The table looking rather more inviting now than it was a few minutes ago.
6.
Glaring one.
$12. Ronnie O'Sullivan,
Well, O'Sullivan furious because having created the
1.
something sizable, he's just handed that chance to Selby.
That's
9.
not a good recovery, though.
Mark Selby, 16.
Well, after the immaculate first two frame,
Might prove to be that whoever does win this frame is the one that goes on to win the match.
this is certainly the kind of frame which would be more suited to Selby's. He won't be fazed by the prospect of a protracted bout of safety, if that's what's required. Looking to make something happen, but it's not.
One. Eight. 15.
Some work still needed. The other three reds are more difficult to get on.
23.
Perhaps O'Sullivan lost it. Yeah, he's overcut
Mark
it.
Selby,
It looked as though
27.
he might have hit it a bit too thin. I wonder whether...
One.
Did what? Oh, he's played a big cannon, and he's
Ronnie
got the
O'Sullivan,
cannon quite
one.
beautifully, but
Well, Selby's going to need
One.
one of the...
yes, and this is much more accessible than the other one, which of course is completely beautifully played.
6.
Well, he did.
Well, he couldn't have... Scrappy affair, certainly. Lots of errors.
Mark Selby,
Perhaps
13.
not hugely surprising that...
In a way, I'm glad he hasn't, because I think it's the right thing, but I just had the feeling he would say, let's rack him up and start another frame. The balls are...
Yeah, two of them needed.
There you see, I think that's enough for Ronnie
Frame
this time.
conceded.
Yeah,
Frame
it
Mark
was
Selby.
O'Sullivan who needed the snooker open. Third frame was much more tactical and gritty, and in the end it was Selby, courtesy of a really finely struck shot on the all-Imhotep Chaya, and Jack Lazowski, winner of that, to play the defending Scottish Open champion Mark Allen, who's won already today.
That's to go down as a mistake by Sullivan. It's a good pop from...
9.
Couldn't hold really, and he's closer than where he's finished. His next...
Mark Selby, 16. 1.
He looked most uncomfortable. It's a good shot. Played it really well. I'd say
7. 14. 22.
in fact, he did go into them quite briskly, and I tell you what,
And a great chance to share the spoils at the end.
37. 43. 51.
been a very well. It's always been a great charm about the O'Sullivan break building around the... Make shots that are not always
59.
very easy. Looks...
Picked the perfect moment last season, didn't he, in making his historic One Championship final against Neil Robertson.
67.
World #1 ranking for the first time in nearly a decade, and beating Robertson in the Tour Championship. But he has played some terrific snooker this week in Glasgow. He's underhit that one.
74.
Sullivan responding in kind in the second frame. And a tactical, scrappy third went the way of Selby.
We're going to find out, I think, next.
77.
Let me just the reds on. Well, there's my answer.
$84.
And the third frame was just a one-off, wasn't it? Just one of those. It's been,
88.
intrigued for all afternoon. I should think you'll be watching the second half of this. This is going to be a real tear-up, isn't it, to the line?
Two players with a lot of respect
95.
for each of his, but combining for a real spectacle here in the second century of the afternoon.
106.
And it's set up beautifully in the Scottish Open semi-finals. Brilliant stuff.
Yes, it's been a little gem of a match so far. And I'm sure we've got more to come, and it really is difficult to pick a winner without, in the two frames he's won. All the stats telling you if you missed it, then you won't want to miss the rest of it. Quite dangerously, yeah, really wide. He nearly went into the jaws of the right corner, but ultimately and it was a safety error made worse by the in-off.
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Might not have been that bad had the cue ball stayed up in that top.
1.
Played with a lot of amount of. That's a nice shot as well. Beautiful. Well, over a long career.
7.
There were a number
25.
of, shall we say, the moment when the white careered off the table in trying to pot the black at pace. But since Glasgow, which perhaps wasn't quite there in previous ranking tournaments this season.
Oh, goodness me, hit that well. Cue ball.
41. 49.
Well, so far, too keen on making maximums, even if he gets the chance to.
Well, he's played that well. I mean, he's pushed a red up.
57.
Try and force an angle. And how well did he hit that? It was just off.
65.
Was frame ball. It's usually the next red, isn't it?
73.
Now, it might become a factor, the 147. Now the frame is 1. But like you rightly say, it seems to be low on his list of priorities at the moment.
There's no specific 147 prize
81.
for the break itself, but if 20 isn't, that triggers a £1 million prize pot.
88.
As you would imagine, he's going to... It's always interesting to see what happens from here, isn't it? Going to be a talking point either way.
Thus far against O'Sullivan in his 4-2 loss yesterday.
So he's not made any fuss about it. He's just going to try and...
At his incredibly brilliant best.
In left-handed. This time he tries to cannon it into play. He's It'd have to be a cross double of some.
It's frustration at not making the cannon there.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 100.
But that was some break, wasn't it? He really... Or Trump. And it was Selby going in off in that frame, which proved his undoing. And Selby drills it in.
1.
Early on in the match, he played a rest shot, which he played quite badly, and sometimes... Well, I don't know if that's the cannon. He tried to push... to the black this time from the blue spot. That worked
12.
out in his favour. He had a couple of little nudges here in this early part of this. I think it was an interesting.
Mark Selby, 19. Foul and a miss. Mark Selby,
He got
6.
incredibly close. So first of all, the
Four from 8 now from long range for Selby. And
in off the side of the pocket. Playing it like that,
1.
pocket becomes smaller.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 1. 1.
successful in Asia. Won the China Championship last season.
9.
But it was a big deal. He hasn't quite produced that level that he can. But if he could beat
17.
O'Sullivan playing as well as he is right now. Got plenty of action on the cue.
That's a good shot.
25.
Cleared away all the problem red.
$33. 41.
And barring Snick. Well, he's missed that red, so
Mark Selby, 47.
Depending on this shot, I guess. The fact that he can take 4 reds and blacks here, potentially.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 8. Frame conceded.
and O'Sullivan
Frame Mark
looks at
Selby.
Selby from O'Sullivan.
One. Ronnie
Well, judging by O'Sullivan's body language.
Yeah, seeing it again off the yellow actually was not a factor. Well, that was clearly a fair shot. There's no problem there, and it's beautifully played.
Eight. 15. $22.
That's a good shot to avoid that red on the right side. Couldn't avoid it this time. Well, he's taken a number of pinks into this left corner. It's the only... So it's not going to be a century in this frame for O'Sullivan, but that's a valuable little break of 42. It was well constructed. Well, that's very nicely done. Think from this red. Not getting there this time.